Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on NYCHA's new challenges. As many NYCHA residents continue to deal with basic quality of life issues and an uncertain future, housing authority management practices are coming under growing scrutiny. A federal investigation revealed a decades-long corruption scheme that could be just the beginning. So what does it mean for residents? It was a shocking announcement by U.S. Attorney Damian Williams. 70 current and former NYCHA staffers were indicted in a pay-for-play bribery scheme with contractors. Williams says the schemes were active for more than a decade in over 100 developments. One of those developments was the Frederick Douglass houses on the Upper West Side. A former superintendent was one of those charged. Resident Association President Carmen Quinones says the person arrested left the post in 2021. And while there are almost daily problems for her residents, like flooding and no heat, at least now the new person is more responsive.
We have a new supervisor, and we have new people here. So, we're working towards getting things done. Thank God I keep my finger on the pulse with them, but there are too many problems here.
NYCHA has more than 300 developments across all 5 boroughs of New York City and provides affordable homes to hundreds of thousands of residents, a population roughly the size of Miami. Over the years, as the aging infrastructure was not maintained and repair costs mounted, the amount of money needed skyrocketed, says New York Times reporter Mihir Zaveri.
I was just pulling up the numbers, and in 2006, they estimated they needed $7 billion to do some adequate repairs. That number is now $78 billion. I mean, it's staggering. And so when you have that level of need and the amount of money that's coming from any pool doesn't match that level every year, it's like a downward spiral.
Under pressure from many directions, political leaders sought new management methods with different financing models. Most developments, like Douglas houses, are still under the basic HUD model called Section 9. The Obama administration came up with a new second option of private management, as we saw in the Betances houses in the Bronx in my 2021 report. We've taken you inside many NYCHA apartments to show you just how bad the conditions were. Now we're taking you inside one to show you how good it can be. A brand new kitchen, new floors, new walls, new ceilings, and even a dining nook for 4. In 2022, Governor Hochul signed legislation creating the New York City Public Housing Preservation Trust. It gives residents a third option and access to new funding sources. I asked the mayor if this was true. Mr. Mayor, what about the money to do all of this? Is the money going to be there for the residents?
Yes, it will. That's the purpose of the trust. It's going to release billions of dollars in capital allocation.
Residents of the Nostrum houses in Sheepshead Bay became the first development to vote on their management choice, and they went for the Preservation Trust, also known as PACT.
I felt like every tenant had a right to have another public option.
Let's take this to our panel now and break it all down. Joining me is Barbara McFadden. She's the president of the Nostrum Houses Resident Association. Barbara, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Also with us is Carmen Quinones. She's the president of the Frederick Douglass Houses Resident Association. Carmen, thank you so much for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
We appreciate it. Also joining us is Mihir Zaveri. He's a reporter covering housing with the New York Times. Mihir, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
We appreciate it. Carmen, I want to start with you on this. In terms of where NYCHA is now, are things better for the residents, worse, the same? You've been at this for a long time.
There's a shortage all over the place. I mean, we have shortage on caretakers. We have shortage on everything around here. It's not changing much. It's not going to change much. It's just going to get worse. And that's the sad part, that it's going to get worse. We do have, thank God, I have a very good rapport with some of our people here in Frederick Douglass. We have a new supervisor. And we have new people here. So, we're working towards getting things done. Thank God I keep my finger on the pulse with them. But there are too many problems here, too many floods, too many broken pipes. It's an ongoing battle, and I don't see any relief soon.
Barbara McFadden, you're the president of the Nostrum Houses Resident Association. You made history this past year with a vote, the first time NYCHA residents could vote on their future, what type of a management plan they wanted to have in effect for them. How bad had things gotten at Nostrum that you were considering doing something that had never been done before?
Well, first and foremost, before I answer that question, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Quinones, and the entire staff for having me here. And foremost, I want to thank all the resident leaders in NYCHA for the wonderful job they do servicing their residents, because this kind of work isn't easy, and Ms. Quinones would definitely attest to that. Yes, Nostrum Housing made history. As we all know, Governor Hochul signed on the Preservation Trust 2022. We all know that Mayor Adams has supported it. I appreciate him on that because I understood a lot of the buildings throughout NYCHA, they're falling apart, they're deteriorating. And especially Nostrum Housing, it's an old building. It's been here like 50 something years. And I know for a fact the volcano is going to explode. So what I did, not only I encourage other residents to go with me up to Albany to protest and fight for this bill, but I felt like every tenant had a right to have another public option, because the Preservation Trust is a public option. Even though we have Section 9 that was established 1937 by the federal government, we also have the RAD which was put in place 2011, and now Hochul signed off on the Preservation Trust 2022. And I'm happy for that, because my buildings in Nostrum will not collapse, because that trust will unlock billions of dollars, and it will allow NYCHA to do the necessary and needed repairs down in Nostrum housing.
And we're gonna talk about that. But Mihir, when you look at the options for NYCHA residents, people are getting confused because they hear about these different acronyms and then what's this, what's that. What do you see from your vantage point?
Yeah, I mean, and Barbara did a great job of sort of outlining some of these, but you know, there's Section 9, which is sort of the traditional public housing program. It's been around for many decades, and there is the PACT program, RAD PACT, which is an attempt to shift some of these developments over to private management, and as a result, you get to tap into a Section 8 funding, different types of federal funds. And then there's the Public Preservation Trust, which is, you know, as Barbara mentioned, it was just recently established, and it works similarly to RAD PACT in that the developments are still owned by NYCHA, but they're leased to this new public entity, and as a result, you can tap into different types of federal funds. To your point, I mean, it's all like acronyms. It's very confusing, and I can totally understand why people wouldn't be able to like sort of wrap their heads around this, but you know, ultimately, it comes down to where the money's coming from.
Stay with us. There's much more to come.
There's too many cooks in our kitchen and nobody really know how to cook. That's the problem.
Carmen, with the recent arrests of these NYCHA superintendents, one of the employees that was arrested was at your development. Your development is named in that indictment. Were you surprised when you heard about this, that there was something funny going on with the money?
No, actually, I wasn't surprised. But I think we were blessed because, like I said, she was back in 2018 to 2021. So which means that I must be doing a good job, because we haven't found anybody else here with that type, right? That was stealing, right? And again, it's about keeping your hands on the pulse. And I want to go back to a little bit what you were talking about, RAD, PAC, and Blueprint. All this is all good for everybody else, but resident management is really the way to go. Resident management where the residents can control their own stuff. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is something that we should do. Everything is not about RAD PAC and the trust. People need to have equity in their life. And so that's what I'm pushing for, Resident Management Corporation, and that's what we all should do.
I mean, here in terms of the money, I mean, this is something that's just been, it's mind-blowing to people. Starting to look at it like you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar a year budget. You're talking about residents.
Not guaranteed. Not guaranteed.
Like all of this money, and then it's coming from here. It's coming from the state. It's coming from this newly named program. I mean, it's almost like, you know, are the cards just moving around it, but it's the same three cards.
It's just a mess. It's just a mess.
Mahir, what about that?
I was just pulling up the numbers, and In 2006, they estimated they needed $7 billion to do some like adequate repairs. That number is now $78 billion. I mean, it's staggering. And so when you have that level of need and the amount of money that's coming from any pool doesn't match that level every year, it's like a downward spiral almost, in that things will get worse, you'll need more repairs, things will keep breaking down, and it just gets worse and worse over time. So yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like, we can try to figure it out and move it around somewhere, but it's hard to see, each new administration or each new leadership team come in and propose something different or something the same.
Carmen, in terms of the sustainability, the mayor said, oh, this is going to tap into a lot of money. And I go, are you sure it's there? And he said, yes. How convinced are you that this money is going to be there for your residents the next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
You can't trust anything that NYCHA does. You cannot trust anything. And especially when it comes to money, you cannot trust anything. They will tell you anything. They will feed you anything, like they've been doing. Again, we need to own our own. That's what we need. We need equity. We need to run our own. We know what's best for us. They don't know what's best for us. They've tried it. They failed. Enough is enough. We need to keep on with the resident management corporations. We need to get funded. HUD needs to give us the training that we need so that we can run our own developments.
That's a great idea of what Carmen was saying. Train us and let us own, but everyone deserves a right to be trained, but it's like time consuming. Like, I can't wait because I'm in Nostrand and every development has different needs, even though all residents deserve to have a better quality of life. But I'm not going to wait till the volcano explode. That's why I went forward with the voting process, and I'm doomed to see some results.
We thank Barbara McFadden for taking time to join us. We'll continue with Douglas House's president, Carmen Quinones, and New York Times reporter Mahir Zaveri after this. Most of NYCHA is still what's called Section 9, which is the traditional, the government runs it.
Exactly.
The residents are basically renters. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And then a number of years ago, not too long ago, we saw this model of this private management where these private real estate management companies will come in to manage the developments on the promise that they would repair the apartments and give them upgrades like Betances houses. There was one out in Far Rockaway, and we saw the apartments. The apartments look really, really great, but who knows, what there's also a lot that has to happen with the infrastructure. At Nostrand houses, where they're involved in this preservation trust situation, from your vantage point, what do you see as the advantages and disadvantages of each one?
I think the Section 9, which, as you mentioned, is the most the biggest slice and is sort of the traditional housing program. I think that a lot of residents will see this, and a lot of people see this as this is the most sort of quote unquote public version of public housing. I mean, it's the one that the system has been running for many years, and it's the one that it feels like the public has the most power over, the accountability over. So, in that sense, it's something we know. It's something we know has been here for a while. I think there's a good argument to be made that it hasn't worked, and that's for many reasons, including many at the federal level. But it's basically like the system that we've seen. The RAD PAC program, as you mentioned, that was something that was put into place under President Obama. The advantage of that system is that, it's one way of getting new money into NYCHA. So how that works is that, you get vouchers for each unit, and then you can borrow money against the vouchers to get, make the sort of billions of dollars of repairs that you need to, upgrade the apartments, et cetera. And then the trust actually works in almost the exact same way. I mean, you basically have created this new entity to manage these units, and you're borrowing again against these vouchers that are coming in. But it's just it's a new entity, publicly created, and there's people like, I think Barbara's on the board of it. There's other people who are part of the public people who are sort of managing this new entity.
Carmen, are there too many cooks in the kitchen with this?
There's too many cooks in our kitchen, and nobody really know how to cook. That's the problem. If they knew how to cook, it'd be okay, but they don't know how to cook. And again, you keep putting the same people doing the same thing.
Take us through when somebody has a flood in their apartment, which is happening fairly frequently and has been happening for years at Douglas houses, what's the procedure that they have to go through to try to try to stop the water from gushing into their apartment and to get it actually repaired?
The floods are very hard to control because they happen at crazy hours of the night. And so depending on when that flood happens, you have to first call emergency services. Make sure you got to put that ticket in. Everything is a ticket. And once you get that ticket in, then they start, of course, they try to get somebody out there. But me, not me. I go above the grade. I don't go through all of that. I have heating, I have everybody's number. So I call everybody straight. That's what I do. And I get them there. And of course, the hard part about it is most of these pipes are deteriorating and they crumble in your hand. I had one crumble in my hand. I couldn't believe it. And so when you talk about like the reservation trust and the pack and the whatnot, it is cool because it's all cosmetic stuff, but the infrastructure is not being done.
And then in terms of the federal monitor, is there much that NYCHA can actually do under the federal monitor?
The backdrop is the sort of falsifying of lead complaints and lead repairs. But you know, the monitor has sort of 5 main areas. It's the lead, the mold, the heating, the elevators, and the pests. And there's a plan for each of them. There's timelines for each of them. And this was, you know, the city was trying to avoid a receiver, right? Which is a little bit different than a monitor. That would be someone who would come in and actually run the whole thing instead of the monitor is just supposed to hold them accountable. That all being said, you know, they've met some deadlines. They haven't met other deadlines.
Carmen, what about that?
The monitor did visit Douglas a lot. We kept our finger on the pulse with the monitor. Anything that happened, we reached out to them, and things were being done. The problem with that was a lot of people did not keep their finger on the pulse with the monitor. And
Miguel, when you look at the crystal ball, like the different avenues, I should say, if things stay as they are with most of the developments being in Section 9, what is the upside of that? Is there an upside?
Yeah, I mean, I think just based on the 3 different options, that feels the most tenuous as an observer because, you know, we've had a Democratic administration and a Democratic president for a few years. There's no guarantee that that's going to continue. And in fact, it feels like, you know, it could go the other way. When it goes the other way, you know, that does not bode well for public housing or traditional Section 9 public housing. So in that sense, you know, that feels a little bit riskier. But at the same time, you know, maybe things could go a different direction. Point of the shifting over to private management and the public housing preservation trust is to borrow enough money to be able to make some of those core repairs, to be able to replace the whole piping system and things like that. I think as Carmen has stated and others, like it's, you know, important that the public has to keep their finger on the pulse, make sure these things happen and make sure these things actually, you know, get done in a way that is you know, makes their lives better. But, you know, I think if those end up working in some cases, we'll see more of that. We'll see more votes with no-string houses in other places.
And then Carmen, finally, in terms of from your perspective as the resident association leader there, what's if things stay the way that they are, what does that mean? Do you expect to see any change?
I think the only change is going to have to come from the residents. The residents have to learn how to take over their own destiny. As I said before, I am pushing my resident management perspective forward. We have trained a lot of our residents and OSHAs, and they have the means to do it. The first part we want to do is work with New York City Housing Authority so that we can start at least with the maintenance issue. We want to take it's bit by bit. You take piece by piece. And so my thing is now to take again maintenance and perfect that for 5 years with the residents here, and keep going until we can actually own our own. We need to make our own decisions. We have to stop waiting on everybody else to solve our problems.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. You can share it and watch it again on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. Remember, use your mind as your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.